Even Hare. Hare Krishna. Right, Hare Krishna. Let's start with the Mangalacharan, and then we shall continue where we had left last time. Ajnanatimirandhasya jnanajnashalakhaya chakshurunmilitam
yena
tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yudapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajitam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhavitam Hey Krishna Karuna
Sindhu
Dinabandhu
Jagatpate
Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste
Namostute
Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Vrindavaneshwari
Vrishbhanu
Sute
Devi
Devi
Pranamami
Pranami
Hari
Hare Priye
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya
Evacha
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Jayapataka Swamiti Namane Namacharya Padayani Tekipapadaini Gaur Kata Dhammadaya Nagar Kramadharini Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasa Gaura Bhatta
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare
Hare Rama
Hare
Rama Rama
Rama Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev Maharaj ki jai, Samved Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. So we've been covering spiritual and material worlds. So we started from the top and then we came down. We've been discussing the last couple of weeks. We discussed Mahatattva, and that the Mahatattva is the first layer out of 7 layers we have. So first 5 layers we understand very clearly because they are what we call Panch Tattva. So they're the 5 elements the body, the whole material world is made up of. And these 5, so this one is not very visible, but this is fire. So earth, water, fire, air, ether. And if you see in this direction, then it's getting subtle. Or if you see in opposite direction, then this is getting more gross. So Mahatattva is hard to see. False ego is what we can feel, that we have the ego. Then ether is the sky, very, very less qualities. Air, more qualities. Fire, even more. Air, we cannot touch, but we can feel. Fire, we can touch. Water, we can taste. And earth, where all the 5 qualities are there. So this gets grosser and grosser. Or if we go spiritually, we get subtler and subtler. And these are the 7 coverings of the material world. And this is what we went discussed. Now we are moving towards Garbodaksayi Vishnu, because the very first thing which gets manifested in the material world is Garbodaksayi Vishnu. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please.
Yes, but Prabhuji, just this Mahatattva, I think we discussed it some time back. It's constituency, or is what, how it is like. Is it like a cloud appearance, or what did you say? Can you remind me?
Yes, sure, Mataji. Mahatattva, what we did, we discussed, okay, this is good one. So this is Mahatattva. Mahatattva is the cloud, you're right. And this is the very first thing which comes out, let's say, from Brahmjyoti. So from Brahmjyoti, then we have the transcendence. And in the transcendence, we have Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu, we get Rama Devi. From Rama Devi, we get the Durga Devi. And from, we got the Shiva element. So he's there. Now, Shiva and Durga Devi, they are what we call divine couple. And they got Mahatattva from Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu through Rama Devi going to give Mahatattva. What's in Mahatattva? Everything we need for material world. And how does it start? In Mahatattva, the very first thing is false ego. So false ego is there in goodness, in passion, in ignorance. So if we see in ignorance, in false ego, the very first thing is ether, the sky. And in the sky, we have the sound. So sky is what we can see, but sound is the first quality. Then from sky, we get the air. In the sky, we have air. So sky could also be the space. In the space, we don't have any air. But when we come down to material world further in, then we see the air is there. And air, so the sky, we cannot touch. But air we can touch. So we got an additional quality. But air will inherit the previous quality already there. So the sound was there, sound is still there. So air does have the sound also. From air, we get the fire. And that's the next thing, which next element, next material element which gets created. And then that has so air doesn't have any form, but the fire has the form. The water has the taste. And then the earth has the odor, the smell. So water doesn't have the smell. If water is smelling, there is something else in it, like bacteria or fungus. But pure water itself will not have any odor in it. But earth by nature has the odor. So these are the things in ignorance. Why we say them ignorance? Because this is pure matter. This is pure matter. There is nothing spiritual in it. Then we go in the passion. Now this is what we have all around us. But now if we see the human body gets created, within human bodies, we have what we call Gyanendriyas and Karmendriyas. So Karma, they are the action, and the Gyan is the knowledge. So we call knowledge acquiring senses and the action acquiring senses. So with these, we are going to get the knowledge of the material world: ear, touch, eye, tongue, nose. So these are what we call the 5 Indriyas, 5 senses. And then of course we say 6 senses. A lot of time we say the mind is 6 senses, because from the mind we can sense those things which we can't sense from the senses. And this is also, we call it intuition a lot of times, 6th sense. But the 5 senses are in the Shastras refer as Jnana Indriyas, the knowledge acquiring senses. But based on those, we do the action. And then there are 5 different senses. They are the ones where the action gets done. And all of those things, they are in the passion. Now, why false ego? Because to do something, somebody will do. And that somebody is the false ego. And that false ego could be true ego when we do everything or we use all our senses with respect to Krishna. If we do everything for the senses, if we hear about sense, if Krishna, if we watch about Krishna, we eat the prasadam, we smell the flowers offered to Krishna, and then deity worship could be the touch. So all these things, when we do for Krishna, then rather than false ego, it's true ego, that we are the servant of Krishna and we are supposed to do devotional service. And similar things in the Karmendriyas. But in the goodness, we have the mind and we have demigods. And then if you see the next, in this screenshot, very similar. And this is coming from the Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, we have all that, where it says, and this is there in the second canto. From Mahavishnu, we got Kala, time, Karma, Swabhava. And then we get the Pradhana, we discussed. Pradhana is three modes are there, goodness, passion, ignorance, but they are undifferentiated, unmixed. So we cannot say what's goodness, what's passion, and what's ignorance in it. That's called Pradhana. Everything is all together. But then in Mahatattva, they get separated. Or from Mahatattva, it starts where we see all three different things. We see goodness, passion, and ignorance, what we have just seen here. So Mahatattva comes after Pradhana, where we can differentiate all these things. And then we have Adi Devik, Adhyatmik, and Adi Bhutik, which we have seen it before. But 10 senses, what refers here, these demigods, which are in goodness, or supposed to be in goodness all the time, they are here. Mind and 10 senses, devtas. So what does that say? Oops. What does that say? That each and every, so these are 5 Jnana Indriya and 5 Karma Indriya. And each and every of those senses, they have a demigod assigned to them. Because of those demigods, all these Devi, Devta, because of them, all these senses are working. So that's why we say this body is a temple. This body is a temple, and because of all the demigods, they live in it. And these are only 10, there are even more. Bhagavatam gives the full list, but what we are saying here, the way Mahatattva starts, then these are the basic things we need for the material creation. And this is what this is trying to say. So this is what we discussed, Mataji, in Mahatattva.
Yesterday, when we went for Ash discussion, I remembered that body is made up of 24 elements. And in the end, we all end like that, with the beginning and in the end. So yes. I was trying to remember the 24, and I did manage to remember the 24 elements. So yes, I was putting what we learned into a bit of a practice yesterday.
Very nice. So that's so true. If we see this mentions, so Purusha and Prakriti, and then Mahatattva. So Prakriti is also what we say for the material world. So Purusha is for Krishna, Prakriti is material, and then we have Mahatattva. Then from Mahatattva, this is Ahamkara, which is the false ego. And then if you see number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Mansa, mind, 5. And these are the, if you see, we have just seen them. So these are the knowledge. So this says cognition. So this is the knowledge, Indriya, senses. So the knowledge acquiring senses, these are the 5. Then the action acquiring senses, these are 5. And then these are called tanmatras and bhutas, what we discussed from ignorance. So this is tamas. In the ignorance, when the false ego works in ignorance, we get these. And if you count all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then from 6 to 25, then these are the ones what we consider as the 25 elements. These are the ones given in. Then again, 26th, we add sometimes, we call Atma, the soul, as the 26th as well. So this is how. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, and then Shukdev Goswamiji says in Canto 2, Srimad Bhagavatam, then different. For example, if somebody is a yogi, somebody is a dhyana yogi, then or Ashtang yogi, they focus on their own specific elements which they would like to focus on. And later in Canto 3 as well, when Kapil Muni, he gives the knowledge to his mother, Devhuti, then he also explains these in very much detail. So these are the ones we discussed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice. So now, so we covered Mahatattva last time. So that was a good recap. Now, if we move forward, Garbodaksayi Vishnu, because we got the material world now. We are going in the material world. Material world, if you see at the back, so material world is this big Brahmand. If you say this Brahmand, this one Brahmand is material world. And these are the outer coverings. So there are 7 outer coverings of that, what we have just seen. Now we are getting inside, and we see the very first person or the tattva which gets manifested is Garbodaksayi Vishnu. Now, then we learned a bit about Garbodaksayi Vishnu. Karnodaksayi Vishnu is Mahavishnu expands. So Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodaksayi Vishnu and enters each universe with particular group of jivas. This particular group of jivas, this is what comes from Mahatattva. So Mahavishnu expands himself into numerous Brahmans, which means numerous Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. Because each and every universe, each and every Brahmand is going to have a Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. And then all the jivas which are supposed to be in that Brahmand, Mahavishnu is going to give all them to Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. And then we will see Garbhodaksayi Vishnu going to give them to Brahmaji. The jivas are in the Mahatattva and they are allocated to different universes. So different universes got their own group of jivas. So that's where we are. So from Mahavishnu, we got numerous Brahmans, and this is one Brahmand. We have seen the very first thing is Mahatattva. All the jivas are there in form of Mahatattva, and there are 7 layers. And we have seen what happens from Mahatattva, false ego in passion, goodness, and ignorance. Now Mahavishnu is laying down here, and Garbhodaksayi Vishnu is there. So he's the very first one who comes along with Mahatattva, with group of jivas. And then the story will continue from here. And this is what we have seen. So 23 elements, Mahatattva, Ahankar, which is ego, and then 5 tanmatras, 5 gross elements, 11 senses in unmixed state. So all them are 23 elements. This is what we say. And then, of course, we add Purusha, which is Krsna, and then we add soul, Atma, then we have the 25. And then we can add a few more. But again, for us being the devotees, these are the Jiva and Krishna. These are the 2 main ones. But the rest of them, they are matter. Everything is matter. But Krishna and Jiva, they are spiritual. Then assemble happens by Lord's Maya Shakti. So that's why we got Durga Mata, who is going to take care of all of them now. After 1,000 years of inactivity, Garbhodaksayi Vishnu enters the universe and enlivens, which means Mahavishnu has given all the jivas, all the elements to Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, and Garbhodaksayi Vishnu is going to keep it for 1,000. And 1,000 is just a rough figure. In some Brahman, it could be 100 years, some it could be 1,000, some it could be more. But 1,000 years is roughly. It's not that today Mahavishnu is going to give it to Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, next year Garbhodaksayi Vishnu starts. No. Garbhodaksayi Vishnu will also get into the Brahman, and then in the Brahman, we will see slowly, gradually what happens. And then Brahmaji comes in. Brahmaji meditates for many years as well. Many years. Right. It says he.
Prabhuji,
Please, Mataji.
this 1,000 years, is it material 1,000 worlds or spiritual?
It's a spiritual. It's a
spiritual 1,000 years. Okay.
So then it says he, which is Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. He then expands into Virata Rupa. And then there have been different Virata Rupas we have seen in Bhagavad Gita. But this Virata Rupa is where all the material worlds, so there are 14 planets in the material world, and each of them resembles one limb of the Lord. So that's where we say Virata Rupa. There are different limbs. So Satyaloka, so if you go right in the middle is Bhuvarloka, and that's where we will see we are, and that's in the middle, navel. Well, if you go up, these are called higher planetary systems. And then if we go down, these are what we call lower planetary systems. So Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal. And then this is what we call Bhu, Bhua, Swaha. This comes in Gayatri Mantra as well. Om, Bhu, Bhua, Swaha. So those words, they come from here. So Gayatri Mantra covers all them. But then we have Mahar, Jan, and Tap. These three are where the saintly people are, or the saints are, saints, rishis, all those who gets enlightened here, they go and live these higher planets before they go back to Krishna. Before they go back to the spiritual world, they go there. And this is why Krishna says, even here on the planet Earth, if somebody has done a lot of austerity or a lot of devotional service, but has not reached to a very that crucial point after which he or she can go back, then in the same material world, then that soul will take a new body, but that body will be, that birth could be in a very saintly family. And then that saintly family could be here on planet Earth, and that could be here in the Saptarishi. So Saptarishis are all there. Tapa, Mahar, Jana. They all are there. And then many more, we will see Chatur Kumars who used to be there as well. And right on the top, Satyaloka is where Brahmaji is. So Brahmaji is always there on top. And Swarga is obviously where the heaven we consider. That's why from the earth, we say Swargavasi, Vasi, the residence, Swargavasi. So somebody when departs in the family, we call Swargavasi. But devotees, they don't want to go to the Swarg because they know that the Swarg or the heaven is like a holiday destination. You will enjoy all your pious activities on planet Earth, but then you have to come down to earth. And from earth, you can go back either here or you can go back directly to spiritual world. So that's why Swarga is never been very pleasing place for the devotees. Devotees don't want to go to the Swarga. So these are the 14 planets which are limbs of Virata Rupa. That's how they resemble. So the purpose of the creation, Garbodaksayi Vishnu manifests the Adi Devtas. Now these Adi Devtas are not the demigods we have in heaven. These Adi Devtas are all spiritual. The Devtas we have here, they are material. So we can also become those Devtas. So here in the Swarg, we have Devi and Devta. And if we will do enough pious activities, we can become Vayu, we can become Jal, or we can become Indra. And many saints, they have become, like King Nimi. He was given the post of Indra for a while. So on planet Earth, if we do pious activities, we can become, of course. Those days, so King Nimi was very pious. He did nearly 99, nearly 100 yagyas. So after which you are given the place. So he had the place of Indra. So he was Indra for a while, very short period, but he was. Then he fell down. That's another interesting thing. He fell down from there. He came back on earth. He was cursed. And there are many more examples like this. So we can. But these Adi Devtas, they come from Garbodaksayi Vishnu. So they are all spiritual. From his left limb, Vishnu appears. Brahma from right side and Shiva from forehead. Now this is the difference. We say Karnodaksayi Vishnu, Garbhodaksayi Vishnu, and then we see Shirodaksayi Vishnu. So Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, they all come from Garbhodaksayi Vishnu. Garbhodaksayi Vishnu comes from Karnodaksayi Vishnu, who is also called Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu comes from Krishna. So this way we can see everything originates from Krishna. But this is the sequence. Now he says these are not the demigods. So this is for Adi Devta. Adi Devta. These are not the demigods, but eternal associates, Shaktis of the Lord, not Jivas. So these Adi Devtas, they are not Jivas. But Brahmaji is Jiva. Shiva is, of course, is spiritual. Shiva is different. And Vishnu is Vishnu Tattva. But these Adi Devtas, they are all spiritual. These are not the demigods. We will get demigods later from Brahmaji. The Adi Devtas are above the material world before creation and empower the relevant Devtas to function. So it's like we said, we have Shivji, and then we have Shambhu, and then we have Sadashiv. So Sadashiv is always spiritual, but Shivji comes in the material world. Similarly, Durga Devi is their material, but or gives birth to the material energy, she takes care of it. But Rama Devi is there, she's spiritual. So Rama Devi expands and give all the energy to Maya Devi, to Durga Devi, and she helps in the creation. Similarly, these Adi Devtas, these are spiritual and they empower the relevant Devtas. And these Devtas could be Jiva, just like Brahma. But they get all their powers from Adi Devta. Yes, please, Mataji.
Yeah, the Adi Devtas. Can Sadashiv is one of the Adi Devtas?
Sadashiv is not one of the Adi Devta. Mataji.
No.
Sadashiv is Adi Devtas. They are always with, so it's called eternal associate or Shaktis. Now, which means that Krishna is there and Krishna's associates are there. Sadashiv is also spiritual, but he's not one of, well, in one terms, everything is the Shakti of Krishna, but not the way these Adi Devtas are. Adi Devtas are like Balramji. Balramji is directly there with Krishna, but Sadashiv is not like this.
Okay.
Vishnu Tattva and Shiva Tattva is considered as Vishnu is milk and Shiv is yogurt. That's the way our Shastras explain Vishnu and Shiva. They are the same thing because they both originates from milk and yogurt, but the transformation happens and yogurt can never become milk, but milk can become yogurt. So this is what from Vishnu we got the Sadashiv, or Vishnu. Sadashiv is also in one way Vishnu. Similarly, the yogurt is also in one way milk. So at the same time it is, but the structure, the transformation, the qualities, the rupa, the gunas, they are different. But if we go in the technicality, we can say it's the same. Yes, please, Mataji.
So the Adi Devtas, can they be considered or equivalent to the expansions and partial expansions of Krishna?
Yes, partial expansions. Yes.
Okay, understood.
Yes. Yeah. They are partial expansions. They are the Shaktis. Very much.
Understood.
So it says their form and qualities are reflected in the demigods in the material. Like, it's very, very similar. It's like a prime minister is there and prime minister cannot go. Prime minister will send his representative, and his representative, wherever he will go in the function, people will take care of him like he is prime minister. So, and he has all the powers. He can sign on behalf of prime minister if prime minister has given. So this is what Adi Devtas have given. They have given the qualities to the demigods, and that's how demigods can act. And if we come back to our Goloka chart, so that's where our Garbodaksayi Vishnu is. That's where Brahmaji is right on the top, Satyaloka. And in between, we will see we have the 14 planetary system. And right in the center, we have planet Earth. And we will go in detail. So now what happens? So Mahavishnu expanded into Garbodaksayi Vishnu. Now Garbodaksayi Vishnu will expand into Kshirodaksayi Vishnu. And this is the Kshirodaksayi Vishnu, which expands into every atom. That's why every atom, everything in the world, in the material world, has Vishnu or Krishna or the God, the Lord in it. So not only living beings, but even the non-living beings, every atom has Kshirodaksayi Vishnu. So Vishnu, like it says, Karn Karn me Rama Basa. Karn Karn is atom. Every atom has Lord Rama or Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna. People say it differently, but we understand that's Kshirodaksayi Vishnu, which is there. And Kshirodaksayi Vishnu, if we see Goloka chart, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu is there. Now, if we notice, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu is there next to Dhruvaloka. Now, we might have heard the story of Dhruva. Dhruva was the son of Uttanpada, and he wanted to go in the lap of Uttanpada, his father, but he had a stepmother, and stepmother had a son. So he was approaching to Uttanpada lap. So Dhruva also wanted to. But then she said that you're not lucky enough to be my son, so you cannot. So you have to wait. Yes, Mataji, please.
Yes, when the soul leaves the body, then there is no Kshirodaksayi Vishnu in that, isn't it? It's just a material. Body is left. What is behind is material without the spirit soul.
That's
Without
right.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So the soul is there and the super soul is also there, but the soul moves into different body, but the super soul is always there. With the super soul is also called Paramatma, and Paramatma is also called Kshirodaksayi Vishnu. So when we say Paramatma or super soul or Kshirodaksayi Vishnu, they are the same thing. The reference is the same. So Dhruva, he did a lot of penance because he wanted a kingdom even bigger than his father. And his father owned everything. His father was the king at that time of the whole planet. And then Narad Muniji came. Narad Muniji inspired him to pray to Vishnu, which he did. And when Vishnu came, and this is one of the favorite prayers he had. When Vishnu came, Dhruva was a 5 years old child. He didn't even know how to pray. Then Lord Vishnu touched him. And because of that touch, he got the words, and then he started praying to Lord Vishnu. And he said that what I was asking, which was even bigger than my father's, which doesn't even exist, because whatever exists belongs to my father. So what could be bigger than my father? But whatever I was wanting, or the reason I started praying to you, they are like broken glasses compared to the glance I got of yours. So please forgive me. But Vishnu ji said that you're pure devotee. You're going to stay here, and I will give you a place which definitely even your father doesn't have it. And Vishnu gave him Dhruv Loka, like his own planet, that you go and you will get your own planet, which means your father will die one day, but you will always be there as a Dhruv star. So this is what we call pole star. The pole star we see in the sky, that's what we have, Dhruv star, and we believe that that's a planet. And that's not like a material planet, that's a spiritual planet now. Dhruv Loka.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Mataji.
yes, the Paramatma, that is super soul, which is in everyone, it is in the form of a Narayan with a four-handed form, which
That's right.
Is
Yes.
it a little bit different from the Kshirodaksayi Vishnu form?
It is Mataji, the same. The form itself changes. The form doesn't stay like if it's four-armed, it will always be four-armed.
Okay.
So for example, some people say that Paramatma is in the form of thumb. The height is as much as that. There's another place where the height is given the size of the arm, the palm. But again, different places, the form could change.
Okay.
But the essence is the same and the source is same, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu.
Yeah.
So Dhruv Loka, and where he lives, Dhruv Loka or the pole star is the abode of Kshirodaksayi Vishnu. So if you think, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu always stays there at one place, but still in the form of his energies, he's always there in all the atoms. It's like sun. Sun is there at one place. Sun doesn't move, or sun moves in his own accord, but sun doesn't come. But the sunlight comes to us. And we say, oh, sun is here. So if the sunlight will come to London, we will say, oh, today we have sun in the London. But basically, we don't have sun in the London. We have sunlight in there. And similar things happens that Kshirodaksayi Vishnu stays as one place, but the energy of the Lord, that's what making the existence of everything. Is the abode of Kshirodaksayi Vishnu within his material world, within this material world. Upon it, there is an ocean of milk. Okay, so there are many oceans being discussed. So we will see what happens. Right, okay. So we will leave them there. When we will go there, we will see. So it mentions here, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu as Paramatma, super soul is situated in everyone's heart and even within every atom, which means living being has heart, non-living being doesn't have heart, but they have the atoms. We also have atom, but we also have heart. So whoever living beings have the heart, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu is there. And if it doesn't have any heart, in every atom, then Paramatma or Kshirodaksayi Vishnu is there. See, Kshirodaksayi Vishnu got this form and Paramatma got this form here.
Yes. Yeah.
So the forms a bit slightly different, but the source is the same. And Kshirodaksayi Vishnu is also there with Dhruv at Dhruv Loka. And these are the 14 planets we have seen. And the 7th in the middle is what we call Bhumi Devi. So Earth. And the reason they all three are, most of the people, they have the awareness of these three. The planet Earth and the ghost, a lot of people believe in the ghosts, and they are Bhuvar, and the heaven. So above heaven, a lot of people, they are not aware. And below also, a lot of people are not aware. There are many hells. These are not the hells. Hells are a different place. And many people believe in hells. Otherwise, most of the people are aware of 5, 6, 7, these 3 places. And if we go further, it says, when Kshirodaksayi Vishnu expand, oh, we have done this, right? Okay. At the top of the lotus, so we have seen that Garbodaksayi Vishnu enters the universe. All right. Okay. This is given in the Bhagavatam. This bit is directly from the Bhagavatam. So in Goloka chart, different information is from different places, but this particular one is from Bhagavatam, where it says Garbodaksayi Vishnu enters into the Brahmand, which is like a big circle, or the egg, as it says, and fills half of it with water. So half of it gets filled with the water, and then water goes up and down also. So with a glance, just a glance, nothing else, a lotus flower manifests from his navel. Now it says lotus flower, but basically what happens, or you can say lotus flower comes, but then lotus flowers keep moving up from the navel. And on top of it comes Brahmaji to create the 14 planetary systems. At the top of the lotus is Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, where Lord Brahma, the first Jiva, appears. So we say if this material world is a school, then Brahmaji is the first student in that school. He's the first Jiva, and he's the topmost. Now, who is Brahma? The most qualified Jiva. So that's why we can also become Brahma if we want, but we don't want to. We don't, because the Brahma is also material and he's also going to die. So the Brahma is a Jiva Tattva. Now we have Jiva Tattva, we have Vishnu Tattva, we have Shiva Tattva. But the main difference, Jiva is also spiritual, but Jiva is conditioned. So condition means that so Krishna has 3 energies: internal, which is pure spiritual; external, which is pure material or help in the material existence, which is like Durga Devi. And then we, Jiva, are what we call marginal. If we want, we have a choice. We could be spiritual and we could be material. That's why Jiva is also called marginal Shakti. And these 3 categories are also given in Bhagavatam. If no qualified Jiva is available to the Lord himself expand as Brahma. So this is very important, that sometimes if Krishna cannot find, it happens that if a principal is not there or the prime minister is not there, then somebody else, like a vice president, will become acting president or acting prime minister just for a while. A maths teacher will be acting principal because there is no principal. So for a while, and then very soon the trustees of the school, they will get a new principal. And this is what Lord does. And Jiva cannot become Shiva. Shiva is not a Jiva, and Jiva cannot become Shiva. Because Shiva is different. Shiva comes from Sadashiv, which is spiritual. And Shiva is there just to serve, just to help Krishna. Because Krishna said, okay, we want this. And Shiva said, okay, I will also come. When Lord Rama came, then also Shiva came in the form of Hanumanji to serve. And all the demigods, they also came in the form of monkeys. And all the stories are there, that why they were in the form of monkeys and how they came. And the pastimes are given. Now, Brahma was bewildered. This says that when Brahma came, it was all dark. Brahma opened his eyes. It was all dark. And then he thought, what's happening? Then he heard the voice. Tapa, 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 ta in Hindi. Tapa. Tapa is the meditation, the austerities. Then for many, many, many years he did tapa. And then Saraswati, the consort of Narsimha, gave him Gopala mantra, and he meditated on Goloka. So it says Brahmaji got instruction twice. Once the Gopala mantra, and a bit of details are there. And then next time he gets the Gayatri mantra. But the first time, Gopala mantra, and then the Gayatri mantra. And then because of them, he gets all the knowledge. Krishna comes in, Krishna gives him all the knowledge. Or Vishnu, Garbodaksayi Vishnu gives him all the knowledge. It says, then Gayatri gave Brahma the Karma Gayatri. So this is Brahm Samhita, chapter 5, verse 27. Gayatri gave Brahma the Kama Gayatri. Sorry, not Karma, Kama Gayatri. And there are different types of Gayatri. Of course, we only know one Gayatri, or I only know one Gayatri, but one Gayatri is actually very famous, the one we say. But there are different types of Gayatri mantras. And the spiritual world is revealed to him by Krishna. So all the knowledge was given to Brahma, otherwise Brahma didn't know anything. And this is what happens when Narad Muni in Bhagavatam says in Canto 2, Canto 3 later, but Canto 2 at the end, the last chapters of Canto 2, Narad Muni asked Brahmaji that I thought you are the creator, you are my father. Do you think somebody also created you? And then Brahmaji said, yes, I am not the, then Brahmaji says, I am actually the secondary creator. I am not the first creator. And then somebody else, then he explained everything what happened to him. And that's where we get all the knowledge about Brahmaji. He gives all that knowledge to Naradji. Then there are 3 different statuses of planets, where we say higher, middle, and lower. So Brahma creates the 14 planet system. As he said, in between we have the earth, and then we have, if you see, so number 7, right in the middle we have planet earth, then we have higher planetary system, then we have lower planetary system. And it says here, Narkaloka, 28 hells. 28 hells. Canto 5, last chapter, gives a lot of details about the hells. And like what kind of mistake or the error or the sin humans have done. Based on that, which particular hell somebody will go and what will happen to those people who will do those things. And so somebody will give the wrong witness in the court. Somebody will lie. Somebody will cheat someone. Somebody will desire or break their 4 regulative principles. And based on those bad things, which hell and what will happen to that Jiva Atma. It's very much in detail. It's very, if you read it, it's definitely worth it. People will not do, especially when in the family in India, you know, when people leave the body in the family, usually a priest comes in afterwards and does Garud Puran, because Garudji asked this from the Lord, and the Lord gave that information, that what happens. In Upanishad also, there is a story of a small child called Nachiketa. Nachiketa goes to Yamraj, and Yamraj also gives him the information that if when somebody dies, what happens to the soul, where soul goes, and all the journey and what happens in between. So all that is given. Chapter 5, it's given what happens in the hell. Garud Puran gives very much detail, like on this day this happened, and a lot of things what we do, like we do 4th day we do something, and 11th day we'll do something, 13th day we do something, based on the information given in Garud Puran. So if we read that, we understand it very clearly. Why do we do all those customs? Right, okay. So so here we can see Narkloka are there. There is another one, not Narkloka, but right here, not shown here, maybe further down in the Goloka chart, called Pitraloka. That's also there, where the forefathers, they go. If they are not elevated enough and they have not got any other body. So a lot of time what happens, whenever somebody dies, get a new body, material or spiritual, but let's say material, that person will get born either on this planet or maybe any higher planet or maybe any lower planet. But a lot of time what happens, sometimes the soul does not get the body straight away. And for a while, somebody could also be in the Pitraloka. And Pitras are ancestors. And those Pitraloka, the residents of Pitraloka, they have a lot of power. So that's why every year we do Sharad. And those Pitras, they could bless us from there. They could really, really help. And if in Pitraloka somebody is really suffering, when we do Sharad here, we can help them to relieve them. So that there are two reasons we do Sharad. One is to help them, and another is to get their blessings. So both the things happen when we do Sharad for the Pitraloka. There are many more reasons, but these two or these two are the broad categories. But if we see very briefly here that number 7, Bhoarlok, planet Earth, the abode of human beings and other mortals. Mortal means those who are going to die. So, for example, trees are there. Trees are not human beings, but they are living beings. So humans are also there, but other living beings are there. And that's why it's called mortals. If you go up, ghostly spirits. So the spirits are also those which they haven't got the body, or their body is not as gross as ours. That's why we call jinni. So Aladdin and jinni. So that jinni is a spirit. And these it says ghostly, but not all the spirits are ghostly. Ghostly is something bad. Bad in a sense, not bad by intentions, but the physical feature could be bad. It's like if we see a ghost, we will get scared. But maybe that ghost is very polite, very kind, but due to some bad karmas, cannot get a nice body and just got a ghostly body. This happened to not the ghost, but we call Chandal. So Chandalas are very close. They're different, but somebody who is very close because the body is very bad of the Chandalas also. And Harish Chandra, who was famous for the words. So he said, I will never lie and I will never go away from dharma. And Vishwamitra did a very, very austere test on him. Took everything from him, killed his son, killed his, take away his wife. And he had to become a servant of Chandala. He didn't want to, but he didn't have a choice. And Vishwamitra, at the end, Vishwamitra and Indra, they all came and blessed him. But for a while, he had a very, very, very hard time. And then he worked with Chandala, who are very similar to the ghostly. But spirits are different. And obviously, 31st of October is coming. Halloween is the time of spirits. It's actually American, but even in Vedic culture, spirits are there. The existence of spirits are there. Yes, please, Mataji.
Yes. Can Chandals be liberated from their form?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
True.
can sort of get into, like, from a fierce body, they can sort of liberated, and then they can become like a human or go up and down.
They can. You're right, Mataji. In Bhagavatam, in Canto 1, there is a mention of Dhundukari. Dhundukari is there, and Dhundukari he had a brother. His brother is very saintly. His brother's name is in the Shastras Gokarna. Go is cow and Karn is Khan. So he did a lot of penance for his brother. And at the end, when Bhagavatam was narrated to him, he heard Bhagavatam. He didn't have any body. He was a ghost. Dhundukari. And then Dhundukari actually killed his brothers. His parents, his mother and father. Or he was the reason why they died. But he did many bad things. But Gokarna was the one who did a lot of things for him. He did Sharad in Gaya and in Varanasi, in many places. But still, Dhundukari, nothing happened to Dhundukari. Then he asked many other sages. And then at the end, they concluded that Bhagavatam is the only solution. And when he narrated Bhagavatam to him, in 7 days, he was liberated. So very nice point, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, this is spirits, they could be. And that's the reason, even if we have pets around or we have friends around. So for example, we are performing, this is the auspicious month of Kartik. We do Damodar Ashtakam. So we are inviting very soon all the friends to our house to do the Damodar Arti. And it says, even if they don't believe, but just because they do it or they listen, they hear, it helps them. A lot of time, devotees believe that even giving prasadam helps them. So prasadam is like a medicine. Even if we don't believe in medicine, even if we don't know what the medicine is going to do, but the medicine is still going to help us. Of course, if we believe, it will have even more impact. But even if we don't know how medicine is going to work, or we don't believe this medicine is going to work, still that medicine can work in our body. So this is what we said there. Then we have the abode of demigods, what we call Swargloka, very famous. Then Bhrigu Muni and Prajapatis in Maharlok. Bhrigu Muni and Prajapatis. And then the abode of Prajapati. So there are different kinds of Prajapatis. So some are here in Janaloka, some are here. And then 4 Kumaras, Chatur Kumaras, the first sons of Brahmaji, they are there in Taploka. But again, these people, they move around. Well, these 3 planets, they all are very saintly. They don't have any material desires. Very, very, very rare somebody will fall down. Very rare. If in case. Bhrigu Muni was the one. So Saptarishis are also there. Saptarishis and Bhrigu Muni was one of those Saptarishis. So Saptarishis changes. So when Bhrigu Muni was one of the Saptarishis, all other 6 rishis, they encourage Bhrigu Muni to go and check from Vishnu, Brahma and Mahesh, who is the topmost. So Bhrigu Muni went and he said something to Shivji, and Shivji ran after him to kill him, and Durgaji had to stop Shivji. So Bhrigu Muni said, I'm glad my life is saved, but definitely Lord Shiva cannot be the main because he is in anger. Then he went to Lord Brahma, and he did not do, because he's the son of Lord Brahma, he did not do pranam to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma, just in his mind, got offended. He did not run after like Lord Shiva, but Lord Brahma got offended in his mind. And Bhrigu Muni could read his mind. So Bhrigu Muni read his mind, and Bhrigu Muni thought, okay, Lord Brahma also got offended, so he cannot be supreme. That Bhrigu Muni went to Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu, like Garbodaksayi Vishnu, laying down, and he went and he hit on his chest, Lord Vishnu's chest. And Lord Vishnu got up, and Lord Vishnu said, so sorry, Bhrigu Muni, what you did right. You're a Brahmin. And just because you were coming to me, I did not get up to greet you. You did the right thing to kick me. And then Lord Bhrigu Muni didn't say anything, and he just went away from there. And he was feeling very sad that he did it. When he went back to the rest of the rishis, he said definitely Lord Vishnu is the supreme, and then Lord Brahma, and then Lord Shiva. And that's the reason we say Lord Vishnu is in goodness, Lord Brahma being the second creator in passion, and Shivji always take care of the ignorance. Great. Hare Krishna. So we have reached to the end of today's session. Great session on 14 planetary systems. We will discuss more of them, and we will see how much more detail we can go. But there is a lot of detail being given. So Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Bhagavati Mataji as well. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Gurudev Maharaj ki
Jai.